It's time to take a stand, bringing the truth to a fucked up land. We've had enough of the lies and deceit. We're done for good with the toxicity. Oh, hell, thanks. We are the Rabyd Nation. Oh, hell, thanks. We are the Rabyd Nation. Oh, hell, thanks. We are the Rabyd Nation. We are the Rabyd Nation.
All right, welcome to the Rabyd Nation, and welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I can now do all the stuff I do to make sure that YouTube and StreamYard are talking during the song, so it's good. But welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm your host, Ed Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to the second episode of the Rabyd Atheist Fireside chat. I'm moving everything to Monday, and I'm also changing the nature of the chat. I've been doing Rabyd Fire now for quite some time, or just to answer questions in chat, and I just wanted to change the nature of it and kind of change the tone a little bit. I still talk about anything, and this is an open forum, so no waiting, you don't have to be a subscriber to chat. You can ask me anything you want. There are a couple of rules, which is, don't preach at me. I was a preacher for 20 years. I don't want to hear it. Okay. If I want to preach, I can preach to myself quite well. Thanks. Don't quote Bible verses at me. I have degrees in biblical studies and theology, and I already know all those verses. I preach from them many times. And so you're not going to faze me. So, if you want to come as a theist and chat and talk about why you believe what you believe and, why I don't believe anymore, you're fully welcome to do that. But those are my two rules. A little bit more relaxed here. My mods have been instructed to kind of like hold the trigger finger and time out more than bans. So there you go. We can absolutely preach about fangs, though, cranky. So, yes, this is the Rabyd Nation. The official religion of the Rabyd Nation is Fangsology, as directed by the Church of Fangs and the various holy prophets of the Church of Fangs, including myself, and I killed Earl and a few others. So there's that. Let's see, and let's get a quick roll call. Anne-Marie was here early. I was a little bit worried about the time change, but it looks like most of the cool people are here. So Fred isn't here, but he works, so there's nothing you can really do about that. Cranky is here. Let's see, Martin is here. Hey, Dave, how you doing, Dave? You all right? I went to Saturday Night of the Atheist, and there wasn't any. So yeah, yeah, I'm not used to Mondays either. I had to make the change. Tuesdays have just become too busy for a family day for me. So, and I'm sorry, I love all of you, but my grandkids kind of trump you a little bit. So when they have parties and stuff like that, it's almost always on a Tuesday, and I don't like missing stuff. So there's that. So there we go. But so yes, it is a Rabyd Fireside chat. So pull up a chair. It's getting fall, so the fire is becoming important to stay warm. I'm amazed at how quick fall came to Michigan. Like yesterday, I drove home from work and it was 32 degrees. It was a frost warning. And I'm like, it's September what? So you thought summer would extend into September in Michigan. That just did not happen. So, and today it's like 65, and it's 65 in my apartment, so I'm comfortable, but man, quick. On the Fangs front, yes. Some of you are are keeping track of us about the book. I've started the second chapter and I'm writing it. It's a little bit more. The first three chapters of any major project are difficult for me because you want to lay out the situation and the characters really well, and I'm stalling a little bit at times because I'm trying to think about how the best way to do that. So, but Fangs has entered the point in the story where he and Yahweh start to have their conflicts. So, so that's kind of where the book is. Yeah, the problem with your noggin. Okay. Yeah, all right. So I'm assuming you're in the hospital and somebody had to look at your brain. Good luck with that. It's now a climate haven. I can see that. I mean, we're still got 4 seasons. It's not bad. I mean, I love it. But yes, I'm more energetic now because it's not so damn hot. But we're supposed to hit the 70s this week. But on the contrast, at night, it's supposed to be nice, get under your blankets and cuddle weather at night, too. So, side note, we're streaming after Ed Stream Saturday night, most invited. P.S. Earl needs to cut loose. Okay, fine. She can do that. I am there for your stream, so I'll be there as soon as I'm done with mine. As soon as you want to do that right away, I will absolutely do that. So make sure you send me the link. But yeah, sleep with your window open and need to cover last night. Yeah, it's been kind of like that way, hasn't it, asshole, here in the Midwest. So, but yes, it's been a interesting summer. Brainstem issue all fixed. Okay, so it's not your actual brain. Say, all right, there we go. I'm glad for you, Dave. I'm glad to hear that everything's better. You have a lot of people that worry about you, Dave. A lot. So make sure you take care of yourself, man. I know a lot of people worry about me, so I work hard on taking care of myself as much. But clock's ticking for all of us. So so there you go. But yeah. Hey, Michael. Yeah, it was 32 here. I know I drove home when I got out of work, it was 32. By the time I got home, which is about a half hour later, it was 39. So, and then it got up to 68 today. So this is the we're doing like 35-degree swings here in Western Michigan. So, geez. All right. Yeah. All right. Send it to me on Messenger too. Otherwise I'll forget. So, okay, you'll send that later. Okay, that works. Just send it to my messenger, and we can go and do what we always do, which is mess around for a couple hours. All right, well, good. I'm glad you're going to be back, Dave. As soon as I saw you were gone, I'm like, well, okay, what's going on? Dave, you're one of my favorite people on YouTube. I just want to let you know that, and I love your show. I love the guys you get together. It's a good time. It's funny and poignant. And I'm going to let you, Dave, what I'm going to let you do, you can take the worst videos on YouTube involving creationism and all that crap. I'm going to start on Saturdays. I'm reacting to pastors. I'm going to take some pastor's sermon or something and react to that. I'm more suited for that, being a former minister. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to tell you what they're doing with their sermon and let you behind the scenes, so to speak. So, and then I'm also like cultural issues too. Like I'm probably every other week for a while, it's going to be about Halloween. So, because the Christians have a lot to say about Halloween. So, I was asleep by 11:30. Yeah, isn't it nice getting older, isn't it? I used to be able to see. The thing is, as I stay up all night anyway now because that's my job. But when I try to stay up late in the morning, it doesn't go well. So it just doesn't. So, hey, Wolf, good to see you. We have both wolves in the house. All right. That's good. It's nice to have a good chunk of the family here. So, but yeah, so I don't know. It's when I look at the YouTube sphere, it's hard to find good new creators, and I don't know, there's some out there, but but old standbys seem to be what I keep watching. So you can't stay up. Yeah, that's the problem when you work second shift. It's like, yeah. Second shift was always a weird one for me anyway. Like I would be asleep by midnight, but I couldn't come home and go right to bed. Never could do that. I had to wind down for at least an hour before I could get some sleep. So yeah, I know you're like he's in Germany, so see that's why Rimmer used to come around, but he told me that he had shifted jobs, so he didn't know if he was going to be around as much because his job kind of requires him to get up early. Well, if he stays up too late, he can't do that. And so for him, it's like me streaming in Europe, it's late. So it's late. I've thought about that. Trust me. That's why I kind of moved to a podcast format, so you can kind of watch this whenever, listen to it whenever you want. So, yeah. See, my social psychology asshole says that everybody likes their echo chambers. I am trying to stay out of them too because I like to listen. That's the whole point of the idea of a fireside chat here. I like to listen to theists when they want to be reasonable and want to talk about things. Like I had a pretty reasonable chat on my old video of my deconversion story with a theist just this week. It was we didn't yell at each other. I just like said no. I he wanted to talk about my salvation and whether I had lost it or not. The Assemblies of God allows for that I had lost my salvation according to Assemblies of God theology. And I'm like, well, I don't really believe there's a salvation to lose anymore, and nobody is really saved. It's just something they tell you in church. And he asked me what I considered to be salvation, what to be saved, and I said, well, that's not for me to define. You're the one that makes the claim that salvation is necessary, and so you need to define what salvation is and tell me what it is, and then prove that that's what needs to be done. And I haven't heard back from him. So it's like, but it was a pleasant, no name calling kind of thing. It's like I'm willing to hear people out, but I think a lot of Christians just run into the fact that I know my shit, and then they don't know what to do with that. A lot of Christians, when they talk to you, they assume you're ignorant. And the fact of the matter is, most atheists know the Bible better than most Christians that I've run into, and that's why they're atheists. So, maniac messiahs, dangerous cult leaders. Oh, that might be interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dangerous cult leaders. I mean, are we doing just religious cults? Because I can do political ones too. So, I mean, cultic behavior is like when you feel like you're right and you're absolutely right and you can't be wrong. That's the basis of cultic behavior. Having a little humility where you can hear somebody out at least, even though you vehemently disagree, to me is a good way of avoiding being a cult, regardless of what type of cult it is. So, yeah, you're suppressing an unrighteousness, Martin. He didn't go down that route, and so I was glad for that. Like there was no Romans 1:18 through 20 quoted at me with that conversation, and I think I was glad for that because I would I'm laughing that off. Because I would tell him at that moment that that's my chief evidence that the Bible is false, is because I genuinely don't believe in God anymore, and Paul is wrong. So, referring to dangerous religious leaders, okay, we can do that. I mean, I can deep dive into those guys a little bit. I think I'm, like, I would love to Like a lot of these cult leaders have sermons recorded. I just don't know if somebody has replicated them on YouTube or not, or where I can find them. Because I think it would be an interesting deep dive into look at what these cult leaders said and why people believed it. Okay. Even though a lot of times when you look at it after the fact, it's like, that's kind of cringe. So, it's right, just not a religious or a believer. Okay. It fascinates me too. As somebody who does a lot of social psychology is kind of part and parcel to political science. And I have a degree in that, so I took a lot of social psychology classes whenever I needed them. But the idea of why people band into groups, why they believe what they believe, how that can get dangerous, is all wrapped up in religious cults. Like there's a reason why people gravitate to cult leaders, and it's not just charisma. Okay, it's like that you can have a very charismatic person that becomes a cult leader, but other people reject their charisma. So it is a topic that's very fascinating, how people come to believe certain things so strongly about a person, that they come around to it. But yeah, it's a fascinating topic of how that works. So yeah, I think I floored this guy though, Michael, when I told him that I didn't believe sin existed. So it's like, to me, sin doesn't exist, so there's no need for salvation from something that doesn't exist, and you have to prove that it exists. And yeah, I think there's a lot of, when you take that tack with theists, I think that backs them into a corner a little bit. So yeah, we get sucked into cults because we're tribal by nature. Like we want our tribe. And we tend to now in the Western world, like tribes used to be geographical. Like you used to, like back in the day before all this stuff, you clung to the tribe you were born in because that's what you were born in. Now you can have a tribe based on choice. Like in the Western world, you can choose your tribes, and often belong to more than one. So it we like our tribes. We're communal in nature, that sort of thing. But it's not always been good for us. It's had its advantages, but it's like when we were in our dim dark ages as humans, it was a protective measure. It's allowed us to band together as a social species and protect ourselves from danger. Now, it also comes with its associated prejudices, which are not necessarily good. Hey, Native, good to see you. Good to see the Native Atheist. All right. It would be. It's why, Martin, you have to have hope in some of the Christians out there. Like, there's a lot of Christians that have distanced themselves from Trump and blatantly said this to congregations, and several pastors who have opposed Trump in certain places have lost their job for doing so. There's been priests. You got to understand, this is what I'm talking about. If we start labeling all Christians as Christian nationalists, that would be false. That's just not true. Okay. There's plenty of Christians out there. Like today, Trump came out with his thing about prayer in schools, and there's already Christians I've seen that are against it. Okay. Because they know what kind of can of worms that opens. It's like hilarious. Like it's the one courthouse that put the 10 Commandments on the wall. Well, then the Supreme Court of that state said, well, then other people can put up their laws and commandments. So you had the Satanic Church, and all these other people putting up monuments to their codes, and eventually they reversed them. This is my problem with Christians who think prayer needs to come back into schools. It's like, whose prayers? Episcopalians, Methodists, Pentecostals. I mean, the gamut of Christian prayers and how that prayer would go is multifaceted across Christianity. And we live in a society that has Islamic people. We have a society that has all this other stuff, other religions, Buddhists, Hindus. Which prayers do we put in? Wiccans, and they don't seem to realize that they open up that can of worms. The best thing to do is just keep that shut and never do that. Don't put prayer in school. I was a teacher. If a kid bowed his head before a test and said a prayer, I never stopped that. Prayer is welcome in school. It's the organized bullshit that needs to stay out. Like, are you going to be comfortable Christians if there's an Islamic teacher who, when told he needs to, he can do whatever he wants, but he has to lead his kids in a prayer to begin things, he gets out his rug and faces Mecca and asks the whole class to do the same? Like, at that point, most Christians, well, I don't want that. Well, then you got to keep your shit out too. Okay, you got churches and temples and all that crap on every corner. Okay, to do that. So, yeah, I see. This is the problem with the prayer in school. Which prayers are true? And I just I don't know. I don't know what a true Christian is anymore. Okay, they will argue among themselves among that. So if the Christians get the prayer, which Christian group gets it? So it's and that's the problem. Okay. But he already got out there today and, he said something like, a strong nation needs to be a religious nation. And I'm puking at that point. I'm no, you don't need religion to have a strong nation. You don't. So. Yeah, we don't have any backbone. A lot of us don't have any backbone, Kyle. We've gotten used to peace. I don't know if people realize this, but in the Western world, for the last 50 years, it's been relatively peaceful. England and France haven't gone at it in a long time. I think it's not so much a lack of backbone. It's just we enjoy our peace. We enjoy a lot of things that are good. I mean, I know the news, you got to remember the news cycle has to have bad news in order to work. And so they gin up all kinds of shit that 30 years ago wouldn't have been newsworthy. So, yeah, self-awareness is a problem. So, yeah, a good Christian is a good person. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of them mean when they say that here in the United States is particular. But it's I've got a series coming up that I've entitled Red Letters, Red Flags, and I'm going to be taking a critical look at the teachings of Jesus, and that's going to kind of go along with questionable witnesses, where I'm taking on the life of Christ and who witnessed these events. But one of the things that I want to point out that Jesus's teachings aren't always good. It's not a good thing because it's based on an apocalyptic framework. So that's going to be one of the big things. So. I don't know. I think Putin feels emboldened right now because he knows Trump's not going to do anything about him. So he admires him in a way. So when Putin and Trump go into a room, the bigger ego is Putin. So, and that's saying something. Yeah, I got to get them good Christian prayers, and I don't know what that is. But I'm waiting for the first challenge to this to come not from atheists. Okay, it won't be the Freedom from Religion Foundation, although they will probably do that. But the first challenge of this executive order is not going to come necessarily from atheists. It's going to come from Hindus and Islamic people and Buddhist people and Wiccan people. Every prayer under the sun is going to say, "Oh, well, we want to get ours in too." And then at that point, hopefully a lot of Christians will realize the wisdom of just keeping that shit out of the public schools. Okay, if you want prayer in schools, go create a private Christian school and have your prayers there. Okay, go do that. Okay, but we have too much diversity in this country religiously anymore to have one type of prayer in school. I don't know how you do that. Okay, so. Yeah, foreign soil proxy wars. Kyle, the United States has been very lucky in the fact that it hasn't had a lot of wars on its own soil. It's led to its continued prosperity. So there is an argument to be made that a lot of stuff, that you don't have to get involved. But the problem with today's world is the weapons that we can use are way too devastating. And have a lot of things. So Yeah, it's been 80 years, Dragon Rider. You make a very valid point. And so we don't have a, we have parts of generations that know what war is like those that have been to Afghanistan, those who have been in both Iraqi wars. You know, we have people in the United States that have been warriors and fought in those wars, but they haven't been on our soil. So we haven't had to see our civilians bleed for them. Okay. And so the idea of getting involved in somebody else's conflict, we're very much in this mental state of much like before World War II. We just want peace and we're going to be neutral and stay out of shit. That's what most American people want, I think, given the latest poll information. So whether that's wise or not, I guess we'll find out. But you were in one of those Christian schools. It wasn't fun. Was it like the movie Saved? I think one of the best movies ever made to criticize religion was Saved. Um, but Drive-By Exorcism, I loved it. You don't want to start nothing. Yeah, Michael. I see. I trust you for kind of. I know you're just one person in the German world, but I kind of trust you for how Germans feel about this sort of stuff. Like you're a nation that started a couple wars, big ones, and um, what's the psychology of like, yeah, we lost both of those, so what do we do now? And it's like I can see where the German people would just like, let's sit this one out. It's not our fault. Let's sit it out. Oh, there you go. Hikibara, there you go. Yeah, okay, asshole. Oh, oh. Uh, it is weird. See, I went to a public school as a devout fundamentalist Christian because my parents had the wisdom to know that I needed to be exposed to other ideas besides the Christian ones. I think the thing with my parents is like homeschooling wasn't a big thing in the 70s and 80s. So, but they would send me to school, to the public school, because I think it was their liberal tendencies that were still there doing that, saying I needed to hear other things, and for which I'm grateful because eventually the doubts and ideas that were implanted just there you go. Just don't be Jewish and not white with blonde eyes and hair. Sorry, Wolf. Okay, you're apologizing to Wolf. I don't know what to do with you, Azo. You never behave. Can't take you anywhere. Yes, bad wars are short with few casualties. Yes, I prefer those. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Americans seem to just want to be about their business. I don't want to start a war, duh. There we go. There we go. But yeah, I don't know. I'm as somebody who keeps his finger on the pulse of politics and what's going on in the world, sort of, kind of. There's just so much going on in an average day. You kind of have to watch everything. But I don't know. We've had a long time without a major war, and so in the world, and it's like you're always wondering. You're always wondering if things are going to blow up at some point. And in order to keep peace, even today, you still have to have a pretty strong hand with your allies and your enemies, and to keep the lid on things. And I don't know. Some of the leaders in the world are kind of their bluster, but when it comes push comes to shove, they kind of back off. So I don't know. Depends. I mean, I hope nothing happens, but I don't believe in a God anymore to stop shit. So, and God really hasn't stopped wars. He's actually started most of them. Well, not most of them, some of them. There you go. progress when the adults weren't looking and good holy Christian when they were. Yeah, I kind of figured that. Anywhere else, like World War II could have been. Yes, if they had kept the war into a certain vein, it might have been, but it spilled over, unfortunately. Your conscientious objection. Okay. See, that's the thing. I get into trouble with this one because I don't think in the country, given our Constitution and Bill of Rights, that the draft should even be legal. Like, and that causes problem. Well, we can't raise enough people for the war. Well, then maybe we should reconsider the war. Okay, the problem with this war, the next war is going to be more technology than anything else. I think, like, whoever gets the technological edge will be able. I think we're kind of seeing that in Ukraine versus Russia. Like, Ukrainians have put up a great defense, and mostly because they've used their technology much more effectively than the Russians. So it's kind of been that way. I mean, I've been watching that war. Eventually it'll end, hopefully. Hopefully not without mushroom clouds and other things I don't want to see. I mean, I like Fallout, but I don't really want to live the reality of it. So, and since said he didn't know how World War III would be fought, but World War IV would be fought with sticks and stones. Yeah, so that's kind of my worry, Anne Marie, because if this we have developed weapons now that if this spills over into that kind of conflict, yeah, we're going to be drop kicked back into the Stone Age. And I don't want that for my children or grandkids because that's when it will happen. And having people that advocate for peace and keep things down and yet keep authoritarian bullshit out of things is tough. Okay, you gotta get people to realize peace is more advantageous than war. And I'm not sure the military industrial complex likes that idea. Like, they want to use their toys. So, I mean, I'm sure when we bombed Iran, there was the people that made the bunker buster bomb and the stealth bomber and all that were just, wetting themselves over it. So, yeah, I think most atheists are, honestly. Like, when I talk to atheists, you realize you've only got this one life, but you also realize that's true of everybody else. Like, when I see somebody killed, there's a line by Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven. When you kill a man, you take away everything they were, everything they are, and everything they could be. Like, it's a waste. Okay. It's like when somebody dies like that, like all the young men that died in all of our wars, what potential they would have had if the war hadn't existed. Would they have come up with something? How far would we be in our technology, in our societies, if war didn't happen? Like, everybody talks about the economics of the war, but wars have a temporary economic thing that is, and required for it is a lot of blood. Okay, and you can avoid that. Yeah, I get, but Switzerland has to be that way, Wolf. And you live closer to them than I. I've been studying Switzerland because I'm considering emigrating. Um, Literally, I have. If it wasn't for my family here, I would. If I was alone and didn't have a family, I'd have gotten out of here a long time ago. But it's like I'm such a pacifist by nature now. I'm not a pacifist. It's not that I wouldn't do violence to protect myself. It's just, ain't start nothing, ain't going to be nothing. And I think that's kind of what I wish most nations had, is that attitude. If you don't start anything with me, there won't be anything with me. But I know, I look at, as an atheist, when you realize that person has that one life and that's all they got, and you then ask them to give it up in a war to protect other people, that's very tribal. I'm just not sure it's beneficial to society anymore. And, the ethics of war, once you get rid of the whole idea of a righteous or just war, you dump that idea because that's very religiously based. It's like, okay, what are we going to war for? Okay. Why are we wasting human lives in our country over something like this? Okay. Why are they doing it? I don't know if I've become so much of a pacifist so much as I just realize how wasteful it is. And people just don't realize that, you could probably do better things if you cooperated instead of fighting each other. That's why I don't like tariffs, because it just shows a lack of cooperation. So, yeah, it's just evolving. Yeah, I've seen a few videos, Kyle, about how the nature of the combined arms, all that stuff is still relevant. I don't know. I've played a few tactical war games with nukes, with tactical nukes involved, and it's a game changer. Okay, like if you can wipe out like 4 divisions of soldiers in a quick order, yeah, that's kind of devastating. But yeah, I know enough about my military hardware from doing poli-sci that's it it's a it's a good study. Like, you can figure out who's going to win a war often before it starts. You can kind of at least get a good probability. So, but yeah, I don't know. This one, that one always worries me, because the problem with warfare is the civilian casualties. People say, oh, they didn't have as much because the weapons weren't as deadly. Like, the invention of the cannon is a good one, because that's what introduced more civilian casualties. When you have something explode inside a castle, it may concern, not it's not a smart weapon trying to get rid of people that are military at that point. It's trying to destroy resources and defenses, and there might be civilians in those. So yeah, I'll have to check them out. Being a fascinating works if there are rule systems in place, but it has been crumbling left and right recently, and Trump ain't helping. Law and order, he's not very law and order himself. He doesn't have a lot of respect for the rule of law. So, especially when it comes to his executive orders, like, he's made executive orders that deliberately contradict Supreme Court decisions of the past, and they're going to get shot down. But the Supreme Court being so right-leaning right now, they just kind of delay and delay and delay. They know the decision they have to make, but they're not making it. So it's like they're waiting. So seems the robots staring. Yeah, the robot thing, the drones, like, there's that level of warfare. Eventually you run out of drones, maybe, because they're cheap to build. Yeah, they're very cheap to build. They don't involve human life necessarily. You're not risking a human life. You've got the schedule changed. Hey, Earl, good to see you. Yeah, I changed it to Mondays. I can't do Tuesdays anymore. I just can't. I got 2 birthdays coming up just this month alone, and then there'll be more. And then I'm sure other things will happen on Tuesdays. It's a day that my family likes to get together because of what everybody's schedule. My son has Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. It's that kind of thing. So if that changes, don't worry. This stream, the fireside chat format, is a little flexible. Like, if there's a holiday on Monday, I'll bump it to Tuesday for that week. I can go back and forth Monday or Tuesday, but I'm going to do it Monday from now on, and then change it as necessary. I don't know. I might have lost Fred. I don't know if he remembered or not. Like you, he may have forgot. Internationality in this case, yeah. Yeah, it's a game of who goes broke first. Yes. The unhinged one showed up. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the first day of work either, especially last night. Last night I show up to work. One of our team is missing. They're sick. And then we have to do something that isn't really in the plan. So there's that. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I get it. And it kind of has me look forward to something in the first day of the week too. So, and gets me out of my funk, and I can go into the week a little bit better. So there you go. See, for how many years has the U.S. flown drone strikes in foreign nations now, without awards being in place, just killing foreigners? See, that's the thing. Here's the thing about American citizens and the drones. They haven't had to have drones fired at them. We talked about this earlier, Michael. Geography has blessed the United States. In fact, any country in North and South America has been kind of blessed in the sense that you got these two big oceans that provide physical barriers to wars. Like you have to have a good navy to attack us from other places. And so we've been kind of blessed that way, geopolitically. And also when you're like the superpower in the world, people kind of leave you alone. I mean, our military has more shit than like the top other 8 militaries in the world combined. So it's like people don't mess with us. And so American citizens have never had to really go under like the Blitz in World War II or anything like that where drones are striking us every day. And I can tell you one thing: if it started to happen, they might have a different opinions about drone warfare. Okay, and honestly, these are acts of war, in my opinion. Like the recent attack on this fishing boat that killed some civilians, and didn't actually hit any drug dealers, as far as I can tell. So, do I hate Sundays? Sundays are incredibly complicated for me, Earl. As a former minister, oh my God. Let's put it this way. I try to be productive on Sunday, but after all those years of preaching, you know what I end up doing? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. I don't want to deal with anything. I do my laundry and I do a little writing and I play some games. But that's about it. How many of my Sundays were wasted preaching to people is a big issue for me still. It's something that's been so ingrained in me that I should be in church on Sunday kind of thing. And I'm just still getting over that. Like I push away Sundays, just screw with my brain every week. So yeah. And the poor man's artillery, and yes, just less capable. Trip, welcome. Yeah, I like Nick Cage sometimes. Yeah, that was a bad move last week. Not looking good. For Tuesdays through Friday, and it really helped mentally, same amount of days, so I know. But it really does feel better to just know about a Sundays and Mondays all together. Yes, I kind of have to do that. I work at my job, but that's about it. So Sunday's a good day for cooking. Yeah, it is. I I don't know about cooking, but I tend to experiment with new ideas. Sunday tends to be my day where I just kind of lean back and just think of random shit. So yeah, I'm glad you feel the vibe there. Well, I know Fangs forgives me. Fangs doesn't really hold much against you to forgive in the first place. Like of all the gods in the universe, Fangs absolutely understands what it's like to be human and rabbit. So he does a really good job at that. So yeah, it's um, Fangs is not a problem. Me and Fangs get along pretty well on Sundays. In fact, usually when I write on Sundays, it's usually on the book. So I've got different days or different writing projects now. So, and I've got a rotation of about 5 writing projects, and it gives me a break from each one of them, and I come back to it and all that stuff. So if Jesus has already returned, boy, nobody went. So is nobody saved? Oh, good to meet you too, Trip. Sunday is kind of official day off and to test in Germany. Everything shows down, which is good to get a breather. Yeah. Rest. And ran away. Oh. I'm a single divorcee who eats like a college freshman boy. I'm an excellent cook, but I quit years ago. Yes. Yeah. So I have to be very careful on my days off because I will definitely eat way too much. It's just it's too easy. It's too easy today to eat too much. So luckily, I have a very small refrigerator now, and my cupboard space isn't all that big for food. So yeah, I just don't. I don't keep a lot of food in the house. I'll just put it that way. Now it's getting on to winter, and I'm going to have to restock the dry goods in case of a snowstorm, but that's going to be about it. You can always ask questions. It's a fireside chat. Pull up a chair, ask questions. I'll warn you too, I only got about 45 minutes left. I only do this for about an hour and a half. That's how long I stream when I stream. And we're 46 minutes in. So I remember the one time when my dad's pastor died. So already predatory. Oh, okay. So Jehovah's Witnesses were already doing their thing. Yeah, you don't want to piss Martin off either. Just this is a warning. Jesus already returned. Just, Martin has an itchy trigger finger, but he relaxes on open broadcasts like this. The other two broadcasts I do are a little bit more closed because I'm more interested on those broadcasts in the community I built here of people that are deconverting and atheists and people that just want to hang out and relax without theists. So today is the day that you get to ask your questions. Yeah, I mean, Martin times Asho out, so. So there you go, and you're both moderators. Stuff in the same awkward position. I have to crawl before I walk. I forget, dude. That's the thing about being autistic. I don't know. The thing is, Earl, you and I both being autistic, I get into these modes where, I don't know, my holes tend to be doing the same thing over and over again for a long time, even though I know it's wasting time. And then it bothers me that I'm wasting time and stuff like that. So I haven't really studied the world fairs and expositions over there, although I've looked at some of them. I have no idea why the babies in incubators displayed within them. I have no idea if that's even true. I mean, you can ask whatever question you want. I may have an answer. So, but yeah, my expertise is Bible, theology, and poli-sci. So those are my degrees. So. Katie, good to see you. And with a great comment too. Outstanding. All right. Last time you did. I can see this, Katie. I really can. The JWs are rolling up, and and you got the Rottweilers available. I used to be a paper boy, so I had a different reason to know the dogs in the neighborhood. The funny part about it is I'm really good with dogs. They seem to recognize me as a kindred spirit, I guess. And I've had some like one day I was out just I was delivering a paper. I got off my bike because the way this house was and where they wanted their paper delivered, I couldn't just throw it. And this dog came out of nowhere, big, growling at me. And so I just calmly went up, put the paper where it was supposed to be, turned around, faced the dog, held up my hand. Dog comes up, sniffs my hand, licks it. And after that, I never had a problem with that dog. So, but I can see, I can see where that would have been hilarious. I don't get JWs anymore. They don't knock on my door. Last time they did, they came with an elder, and I almost convinced the two people that weren't an elder to give up their faith. So I think that was the end of that. So yes, Martin is my favorite. They were really bad map makers. Yeah, if you put Jerusalem at the North Pole, you're out of your mind. So yeah, it's kind of random. Probably I've been doing, I'm taking a toll on my poor joints. Yes, I know. You know, see, here's the thing. I hope things get better for you, Earl, because what you need is like legit artist stuff, like that doesn't do that. Like there's stuff where you don't have to work on your phone and things like that. I think that's something to do that. You're making a joint now? Yeah. Infants and incubators. Why would this be a thing? I don't understand the nature of these questions. Like, is there a point? I mean, I've had fireside chats by real fires where people were like this, and I don't know if you're seeing the flames and it's causing your mind to go zip zip. It's nice and random. Don't get me wrong. At least you're not preaching at me. That's good. So, oh. Oh, you're here till I open the door. It was too late. Oh, head for the hills, JWs. Head for the hills. It doesn't look like the Colossus of Nero. Or maybe the French guy who did the Justice Emperor have a broken chain around its feet. I think it's supposed to be representative of freedom. Like it's a statue of liberty, and change would be slavery. It's not a really hard one. Well, then they were really bad. It's like all early things when people do stuff at the beginning, it's crap, and then the later people get it right. You can draw a map with vinegar and Dungeons and Dragons on it. It doesn't make it true. Oh, maps, ones that made religious-oriented people. A lot of historical maps were drawn with the east on the top because the sun rose in the east. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're definitely more inaccurate. Some maps show Santa's workshop on the North Pole. Dude, where are you? I have to ask at this point. What are you doing? Because this is the kind of crap that when I'm working in the store and somebody high comes up to me, this is the kind of crap they ask me. You prefer it? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. See, that's the thing. I need you to. Yeah, I mean, just experiment. Find something that'll make you more comfortable. And I think regular, I know we autistic people tend to get really focused on our shit, and we'll spend 3 hours and not realize it's been 3 hours. And I get that, but man, it's at some point you gotta let those things go. So you're not high, all right. Well, thanks for defining. It doesn't make me feel better. I just here I get you're just asking, but I I don't know, photos of the old days, I would have to look at photo technology. Maybe that's the way they worked. Okay, a lot of old photographs don't do good color, so low blood pressure and sitting at a desk too long makes my blood pool in my legs. Okay, there you go. All right. Do you, Earl. I'm just saying, find a way that doesn't hurt yourself. Proven Freemason. You're a proven Freemason. There you go. There we go. I count. There you go. There you go. See, I mean, if you get to 30. Oh, they have a nice tail. I'm good. I just need to set alarms so I get up and wiggle more. There you go. See, that's what I'm saying, Earl. Let's find. Maybe it's not the technology you need. Maybe it's just a technique. Like, it's why I rotate my writing, because otherwise my brain gets too fried on one hole. So, I have a novel I'm working on, another book I'm working on, a series that's coming up for my blog. And then I'm also working on Fangs. Fangs comes up like every other time, though. And then I got a couple scripts soon to write for YouTube. And so I keep myself rotated so my brain doesn't get so harsh on one side. So these questions have answers. It's good to ask them. We have all seen some crazy stuff and read about it. Yes. Asshole is now wiggling, Earl. I'm not sure that was a good thing. I don't know if you're going to get timed out. Kind of saw that coming. Yeah, asshole's now wiggly. I'm not sure it's a good thing. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm going, well, what's the point? Like, I know. See, my views of the past are this. The farther we get back in the past, the more difficult it becomes to verify anything. Archaeologists will tell you that. Okay, like they can get an idea, a probabilistic idea, but that's just it. Oh, I see what you did there. That's beautiful. A vibrating peach. Okay. I don't think that's strange. I think people are weird. I also think people can be trained to not view other people as people. The biggest flaw in humanity is we start to look at each other as objects instead of people. And that's a function of tribalism, by the way, because when you're tribalistic in your mindset, you exalt your own righteousness and you diminish the other tribes around you. And so to the point where the tribes around you cease to be people, they're just objects in your way or problems. When you stop looking at people as problems, that's when you start to, in my opinion, start to engage your empathy. So that's actually a valid question of why unspeakable torments are done on people. When you start to look at mentally ill people as not people, which is very easy to do because they're not like you at all, or even mentally divergent people, yeah, you can dehumanize them. That's dehumanization is a well-known phenomenon. So yes, out of sight, out of mind. Another, if you take certain groups of people and put them someplace where you don't have to think about them, they're no longer human to you. Okay, you don't have to interact with them. I mentioned the movie Saved earlier. Like the one guy that's gay gets sent to some house to deal with his gayness, and one of the characters says, that place doesn't exist for them; it exists for us, so that we don't have to deal with those people anymore. I feel the same way about like ministries out there, like Teen Challenge. It's like if you have somebody with a life controlling problem like drugs or alcohol or whatever, and you put them someplace, then you don't have to deal with them directly every once in a while. Every once in a while, they'll come and ask for your money and you give it so they stay away from you. So like you don't have to deal with them. So yeah, I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of myself too. I'm the same way as so I you got to remember I'm wired backwards. I make fun of the people I like, and I'm super duper polite to the people I don't. So there's that. But yes, I can feel you there. I won't tell you how to vote though. I don't do that because I can honestly see, given the two-party system, why somebody would say, fuck it. I really can see that, or fangs it, I should say. That way I won't get banned. You're crying now? I am so sorry, asshole. Here, let me brighten up your day. I have a picture that Earl just did like yesterday of the Hellhound's Conception revised. Do you want to see it? I'll show it to you. So there you go. But this is how the Hellhound was conceived, allegedly. This is the Hellhound's conception, allegedly. So there you go. I figured that would brighten your day, so I've been saving that just for you. I don't know. I mean, Fangs is a fertility god, so I can't really talk about sexual behavior from my own characters there, as so like Fangs is all down with consensual good sex, so and can transform into any gender or whatever he needs to be to have it. So yes, this is definitely one of the better works by Earl. But yes. Hey Robin, good to see you. Oh. Oh. Oh, so Jesus already returned has been on another channel somewhere. Because they're the same people and they build things the same way. We tend to be that way. Oh, that's Hellhound's mama. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the Hellhound is a completely different thing. Yes, he already did that one. This surprises you. Like, of course she is. Oh, 50 Ways to Annoy People was good too. There you go. Yes. Yes, but I don't know why people do that. I don't know. Trip is enjoying the show. We have a very interesting group over here, Trip. I'll give it that. We don't slut shame here. Okay, I'm sorry. My atheist god of fertility, rabbits nibbling on vegetables, and magicians. You know, I mean, Fangs is the patron saint of all tricksters and the god of good consensual sex. So not just consensual sex, good consensual sex. Raise your standards. Yeah, he's involved in a lot of things. So he's one of two atheist deities I know of that draw strength from unbelief rather than belief. So there you go. Why? Who cares? Okay. I'm going to leave. I think the Greenlanders should be left alone. I mean, that's them. Let them do their thing. Had a dog that would find another dog he loved. Dog was by and had no clue. I was afraid he was going to put dog's eye out. Yes, it's a direct quote. Yes. Direct quote from the book. Yes. Raise your standards. He's the god of good consensual sex. Everybody needs to raise their standards. Quit just screwing. Screw better. So, that's been explained to you. I don't know. I hope you're having fun. Well, the thing about dogs is, they're dogs. I mean, there's a reason for the, like he or she's just a dog. There's a reason why that expression exists. Okay. So, yeah, Greenland also has large amounts of rare metals needed in chips and weapons of weapons production. So yes. Yeah, it's got other gaps. There we go. See, Robin's on this. She's already dealt with this guy, so I'm going to let her handle him. Yes. Why do you believe in weird conspiracy theories? Yes. Yes. But yes, I've been loving the book. Okay. So me and Earl, oh, I don't know. I don't know if the world is ready for us, Earl, with what we write. That first chapter had me rolling. After you got done with it, I was already chuckling to myself and laughing my ass off with what I wrote, and then you added to it, and oh, I think a lot of people are going to like this book, but I'm not sure the world is ready for it. Oh my goodness. It's a deadly combination. I'll just put it that way. I know. I get it. The problem with some of these people that come and troll around and they do this to multiple YouTube channels, they're just wasting my time. And they don't realize how precious their own time is, and they could be doing better things with it. But I mean, I, since I became an atheist, I realized how precious my life is. I'm not just going to throw it away. And I'm getting better at understanding how precious time is. Like, time is a commodity. You have it as long as you're alive. And, all of us have had those moments where like, okay, is this the end? And, and I think that's kind of where a lot of us are at. And so I don't spend my time trolling theist channels. I'll react to some of their videos because I think it's worthy while. So like, yeah, it's just one of those things. So yeah, my mods are kind of getting angry at you. Jesus already turned. I think it's going to happen. No. And I'm super excited for the next chapter. I didn't know. Anyways, that's fun. I'm such a control freak. I thought I'd hate it. Yeah, I'm kind of a control freak too, but I don't mind doing it with you. I don't mind doing the co-writing with you. It's when you brought that back, I'm like, okay, am I going to like this? Or am I going to hate it? I'm going to try to find a nice way to tell her to F off. Or and then I read it. And I'm like, okay, I'm man enough to realize that this is better. Like, this is the first time I've cooked something with somebody else and it actually tastes better. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, it at least be funny. It's like I was honestly, Earl, I was like, okay, I'm kind of a control freak with what I write, but when I saw what you did, I'm like, okay. And I'm going to tell you what it is, folks. I'll give you the basics of why I liked it so much. Like, Fangs has a very different perspective on a lot of things because Fangs can be both male and female, be biologically, and can messes around because he's just interested in good consensual sex. There's also the element of looking at somebody like Earl is younger than me by 15 years, something like that. A little bit more than that, I'm not sure. A little less, about 18, I think. But it's like, and so there's that perspective too that she brought into it. I'm like, this is going to appeal to a lot more people. So it was good. And so, I was just like, am I going to like this? Sure, Earl, go play with my toys. Okay, you'll be 39. I'm 56. Okay, so yeah, I'm having a hard time mathing today. So, what do you mean I'm old? Well, yeah. So, yes, this is very possible. There is nothing sexual that has been done in the world that Fangs has not also done. So, as long as it's consensual, he doesn't. I refer to him as a he, but women can refer to Fangs as she. It doesn't matter. He's the ultimate trans deity you could ever have. So, Yeah, see, Robin's only a little bit older than me. She knows what I'm talking about. At least nobody's underage. Yeah, Earl's not old. She's not old, asshole. Be nice. Be nice for once. uh, you're pre-fossil? Okay. There you go. See, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I just enjoyed it. You had a stroke? Okay. Ugh, not good. Yeah, it's you can't time out the host. I control all that. You know how difficult it is to, I mean, I'm timed out of chat, but I'll still be broadcasting and I'll still be seeing everybody's comments. How do you, do you understand how this works? As you're pre-Jurassic. Okay, there you go. Yeah, 54. See, a lot of people in their 50s here. Bunch of Gen Xers. Shh. Shh. Okay, so I'll let it go. I'll let it go. I ain't got much time left on. See, and this image, I love this image because it leads to this one. There you go. One of the cutest devil puppies ever. I guess. I mean, everybody. I love this one though, asshole. I don't think you're gay. I mean, it's rainbow tie dye. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Oh, yeah. I mean, and the hellhound there, one of the cutest devil puppies ever. Yeah. See, I noticed that. I mean, Robin, maybe you should go talk to Keith Richards. He has some sort of necromantic shit going on. I don't know how he's still alive. This is about old world, yes. Old world. Is that an insult about where you live? I don't know. See, Jesus already returned has made a you don't want to live that long. Oh, Keith Richards. Oh my gosh, I swear every time a musician dies, he steals their soul and keeps living. Okay, so it's pure. You're still alive because of pure spite, Katie. I think I might do that myself eventually. I don't know. I don't have anything to spite my family for other than their faith continues to annoy me sometimes. See, the problem I have with that situation is I was a pastor when all my kids were in church and I was their pastor. So a lot of them still believe based on what I taught in church. And they can't seem to figure out their father who suddenly stopped believing. And it's like, because when you get to the end of those rabbit holes of what I taught you, there's air. Okay, there's nothing. There's nothing. Yeah, I think that's what's going on, Robin. I really do. But yeah, I just look at long life and I look at my family and I'm like, I'm going to stick around here long enough to be an annoyance. So I'm going to be the grandpa that nobody wants to take anywhere. So there you go. It's a journey. Yeah, I enjoy the journey. It's kind of, that's a deep philosophical point there, Robin. It's the journey. You don't know when the journey ends, but you keep walking. So it's kind of keep doing it. I don't need a eternal purpose to enjoy the trip. So there's that. All right. Noteworthy sermons. I my most famous sermon among my flocks and congregations was called "Knowing God." So, and it's ironic because that sermon inspired so many people to faith when I preached it. Um, but at the same time, it did quite the opposite for me because I began to realize how impossible, if such a God exists, why would anybody be even able to know them given who they were? And it's like, it was my theological downfall there because what you end up with is a God that um, you can't relate to. How do you relate to omnipotence? How do you relate to omniscience? How do you relate to omnipresence? But yes, people loved it when I did that sermon, and I would repeat that sermon about once a year. But you know, let he who boasts boast in this that he knows and understands me. I think it's from Jeremiah, as I recall. So it's like it's one of my more famous sermons that people like to hear in my congregations, anyway. So I had another one. People used to love it when I did. What was it? Either Ephesians 6, like with all the armor of God. That one I like to do because I could bring in my knowledge of weaponry and stuff like that into it. And then I had another one on the seven churches of Revelation. That was about the only time I'd preach out of Revelation, so everybody loved that one. So, but yeah, I think what I was most known for, Kyle, as a pastor, was preaching through books of the Bible. Like I would pick out First Corinthians and I'd preach through it. So, Sermon on the Stepping Stone. Yes. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to be any of those. I'll be the fun one it's the parents that are going to be annoyed with me, not the grandkids. I'm going to be my grandkids' friend, um, all of them. So there's that. Yes, there's a definite irony to one of my favorites. Yeah, it got hard, and when I lost faith, okay, I had 3 years. I was still in the pulpit where I didn't really believe in Christianity. I still had to get up every week and preach a sermon. And how do you relate stuff to people's lives in the Bible um, if you don't relate to the Bible anymore yourself? It became an incredible challenge. And the funny thing is, a lot of people in my congregations loved those sermons because I was being so damn general about just being a good person. And I would take parts of the Bible that kind of talk about that, some of Jesus's teachings, but you have to cherry pick so badly with the Bible when you're trying to. You certainly can't go to Yahweh and talk about being a good person. Okay, you just really can't, not given modern ethics. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Happy Monday, yes. And Fireside will be on Mondays. Tuesday broadcasting, I'm gonna have to kind of give up. So yeah, it had to. It was bad suck because I had to bounce around the Bible to find stuff that was even worthy of talking about. Like the Old Testament, Robin, is so full of Yahweh being an asshole. Like that's what me and Earl are kind of putting into this Fangs book that we're doing. The Misadventures of Fangs, our made up deity, is because his whole conflict is with Yahweh. And I don't have to go too far in inspiration to turn Yahweh into a dick. I don't have to because all I have to do is open up the pages of the Bible and read what he does. Yeah, I'm making some shit up too, but it's like I don't have to, for the villain in the story, I don't have to really go too far. I just have to open the Bible and open the Old Testament. And it makes it very difficult to preach when you don't really resonate with the character. Like I did not consider God at that point to be a good one, not in the Bible. And Jesus, I actually think is worse because he comes in this garb of being meek and mild. But it's why I'm starting a new series of videos soon, hopefully, because I got the idea. I got to write the first script, the introduction, but I'm calling it red letters, red flags, because I don't think the teachings of Jesus are all that great. Like some of them are just plain lead to abuse, and some are just apocalyptically based, so they're stupid. So, and to me, Jesus in some ways is worse than Yahweh. You know, God's son is worse than he is, if that's possible. Nope. Not comment on scriptures. No, I haven't. I don't spend a lot of time reading holy books anymore. So what the best sermon is, every preacher is known for something, Michael. Like it may be a local thing or a national thing or a worldwide thing. Like I'm sure Billy Graham has a sermon that he does or did that was famous. Yeah, teach them how to bad. Yeah, I teach them all the things their parents don't want them to know, Martin. So, who isn't a believer anymore? We talk a couple of months, and yeah, he's in a really bad place. I'd mentioned the Clergy Project to him. The link's in my description. They can help him. I get the problem with Nigeria, of course, is I'm assuming it's a very religious country, and he doesn't have the same protections that I have in the United States. So, yeah, I would be worried about him. The Clergy Project has people in it that are anonymous. We're anonymous until people choose not to be for very damn good reasons, and those are the reasons. So, if you have, okay, well then hopefully connects with them. It's just I waited too long, and so I always encourage ministers that are going through that get in that door. They will help you. At least you know that they're not alone. Okay, that's the biggest thing. Okay, he could be arrested. Yeah, that's shit. Okay, that's shit. Yeah, he needs some emotional support, and that's probably the best place for him to get it. You know, if he has access to a computer, there's forums to talk on. There's people to connect with. I know it's invaluable for me. I don't keep track of it as much anymore, but I still recommend it. So, yeah, be very supportive of your friend. They need it right now. So, I would definitely encourage that. Yeah, it's super Christian. Yeah, I don't. I'm going to talk about a bad example of Christianity being in charge of a state. You don't get much worse than Nigeria. So, I don't know. Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. But yeah, it's not. I mean, when you look at Jesus Christ, everybody's like, "Oh, he has all these teachings about helping the poor and stuff like." It also tells you to hate your mom. You know, he tells you that devotion to him is more important than your family, and yet all these Christians are like so family oriented, and I'm like, your savior is not. Yeah, he needs a ticket to somewhere else. The problem is getting it. Like you'd think that would be just easy to like give the guy a ticket, go move and immigrate somewhere else, but a lot of countries that used to accept immigrants have become very anti-immigration now because of all the problems it's brought to their countries. Because immigration brings a lot of good things, it brings bad things too. So it's like I don't know what to tell people sometimes. It's just not a good situation as it used to be. And he may have other reasons to stay. People have families, people have people they care about. It's like you have friends that you don't want to leave behind because you're leaving them to the mercy of something else. It's not an easy situation. And by comparison, mine was light. I was just in the pulpit and I didn't want to lose my livelihood at that time. And I didn't know how to really do anything else. So yeah, it's hard. It's just hard for ministers who find themselves not believing in countries that are hostile to non-belief. We've had at the Clergy Project, I can't tell you who they are, but we have had people from Islamic countries that if it was found out they were atheists, they'd be put to death. So it's like it's not a joke, okay, for some of these things. It amazes me that belief in imaginary characters has such penalties if you don't. Like if it's so patently obvious that these gods and religious things exist, you wouldn't need laws to enforce it. Okay, but if our ideas need violence behind them to enforce them, they might not necessarily be the greatest of ideas. They're probably worthless. So yeah, it's a serious issue. So I'd say may fangs be with you, Robin, but he's not very good. He's an atheist deity that doesn't believe in himself. So all I can say is, hopefully things work out. But I worry about people in the situation that you're dealing with, Robin. So do your best to be as supportive as you can. It's a tough one. So a bloodless invasion, and yeah, I'm not sure that's the case. It's weird. I'll be honest, Kyle. I don't recognize Republicans anymore. They used to be pro-immigration and anti-tariff. So Ronald Reagan was very pro-immigration, and he has a lot of nasty things to say about tariffs. So he's rolling over in his grave about the Republican Party right now. So I don't know. Banks has a lot of therapists. I don't know. His whole thing is the betterment of rabbit and humankind, and doesn't really care if you follow the Fang Dammits. So and I did realize that for our book we're going to have to probably revise the Fang Dammits, so there'll be two versions, just like in the Bible. So we're perfectly justified in have two versions of our 10 Commandments. So it's already been done. Maybe we'll have three. We'll have three different versions. Yeah, he's the Republican Party he left and the Republican Party of now are two very different things. Like, oh my God. Like, yeah, he hated tariffs. He has a long spiel about why he doesn't want tariffs. And then he also was very pro-immigration. He's like, that's more resources, more human minds to work on problems. Like he understood the value of immigration. Yeah, the Republican Party we have now is very xenophobic, and where out of the blue tariffs are suddenly a good thing is all Trump's doing. Like, I don't know. He would be like livid right now. So he wouldn't have had any patience for that. I think they went wrong. Well, they've always had this sleeping giant in them, Kyle. It's called the fundamentalist Christian movement. The religious right has always been there. And a lot of the Republican presidents have kept them in check by not giving them a lot of credence as far as policy. But Trump's it's always been there, this sleeping sickness of Christian nationalism and religious rightness. And I hate to say it, but it's the last, like, since Trump's first term that Pandora's box has been kind of opened and they can go free. But there's always been that pandering to the religious right for years, for decades. That's kind of just been there. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to lie, at least make it convincing. Don't say stuff that can be immediately fact checked in 5 seconds and people realize it's a lie. I mean, Bush at least did that. So Reagan too, Yeah, Reagan was no saint either. I'm not exalting him. I'm just saying that that's how much the Republican Party has shifted. Like, now we're pro-tariff, anti-immigration, when a mere 30 years ago, the opposite was the case. So it's like, it's weird. It's weird what has happened. And, the funny thing about it, Michael, if I'm looking at the polls correctly, the only thing that people hate more than Trump is the Democrat Party. Republican Party doesn't get near the hate as the Democrats do. So, it's like, and I think it's because they're so inactive and ineffectual right now. Like they're not doing anything constructive. Like they're waiting for the election, and they really need to be figuring out what to do now. And they don't have very good propagandists, so to speak, to fight against the other propagandists. So I'm just not impressed at this moment. So, good point. Having been a politician briefly to run for school board, I can tell you the temptation to go into skullduggery is very real. And the temptation to have dirt under your fingernails is very real. And if you're an honest politician, you won't be in politics very long. Sooner or later, every politician has to get dirt under their fingernails. How that happens, I guess it might be important, but it's just kind of that way. So I don't know. There's no good politician that doesn't, like, you can't run for public office in the United States without having some sort of corporation back you with money. Like you just can't, there's no way to buy the advertising, the political power anymore without cozying up to somebody. And that somebody is probably going to be not exactly lily white. They're going to be some shade of gray. So it's like, it's just never worked that way. So yeah, there's a lot of, there's economic controversy with Reagan. There's also homelessness but I have to say with that one of the problems was also, I guess if you want to call it a problem, a lot of homeless people would probably be in asylums in the past, but then they passed a bunch of laws saying you couldn't force people to stay in institutions for mental health. So a lot of people just check themselves out and can't function in society and they're homeless. That's a part of it too. There's a lot of things that both the Republicans and the Democrats botched when it came to homelessness back in the 80s and 90s. So they didn't, it's like a lot of politics. People pass laws thinking they're going to fix a problem and then it creates three more. And it's not so much maliciousness, it's ignorance of how it's going to work. And that kind of happens. So there you go. Well, I have got to run. I am actually a little over time. I do have to get ready for work. I got to go and earn a living later. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by on the stream. It's been a good one. There's been some good funny discussions and some good serious ones. It was a good fireside chat. That's the way fireside should be. So thanks everybody for being around tonight. I appreciate it. I hope the new time slot, it seems to be working for most of you. So hopefully that'll be good. So yeah, you got all the things that we do around here. Look forward to hopefully some new videos soon. I'm working through writing out the series and how they're going to go. Got a couple of new things coming and getting back to some old things like questionable witnesses and stuff like that. So keep your eye on that, and hopefully we'll get some other things going. But I'm working on intros and outros as I talk this week. So hopefully that'll get done and make things a lot easier for me. So thanks for stopping by. I appreciate all of you. Appreciate the donations tonight. That was good. Didn't quite reach the goal, but that's okay. It's okay. So take care, everybody. And may Fangs bless you and nibble on your vegetables and nibble on your heart and make you feel closer to him every day. May he purify all your vegetables. Remember, carrots don't need to be purified because they're automatically holy, and they just can be made more holy by circumcising. So remove the tip. And then, as always, live your best life. You only get one go around and then it's over. So take all your time, money, and opportunities and give them to yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. And don't waste them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, folks, thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time.
take a stand, bringing the truth to a fucked up land.